I'm making this video. I don't really know why. Well, I mean, I know why in the most basic of sense. But I don't know what my ultimate goal here is going to be. I really honestly don't. I'm hoping that as this video proceeds, I will get to a point wherein there may be achieved some understanding between me and the person that I'm more or less directly talking to. I'm not trying to burn any bridges. I'm not trying to end any friendships. I'm simply stating my position. Essentially, this afternoon, I was told by a friend of mine of a long time that he can't be friends with the person who would make the video that I made. What would it be? Yesterday morning it published. I made it 2 days ago, but whatever. The Trump 2020 Keeping Families Together President. That video he was very upset about. Now, from what I could gather, what he was upset about was that I was, basically agreeing with Trump with everything where he said, I've been around for 60 years, blah, 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 all of that. And then in the video that I posted later yesterday afternoon, I addressed that I had found numerous transcripts of Trump and Jeff Sessions saying that they were going to be enforcing this policy of, separating families and blah, 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 and using it as a deterrent and this, that, and the other thing. So all of that. And I made that kind of, I guess, retraction where I said I looked into it more and this is what I found. That, in fact, Trump did say that and so on and so forth. Right? But where it gets fuzzy for me is the law aspect of it. Because I looked into it even more today. And this wasn't the video that I was going to make today. I was going to do a goofy video. But this seems much more interesting to me. I did a little bit more poking around. And people were bringing up that a few years ago, it was argued that holding children with their parents in federal detention facilities was cruel and inhumane. And that the children shouldn't be held in those facilities. The goal was, of course, to just have everybody just released into the population. But at the time, the children were held with parents, and everybody thought that was awful. I remember that. I do remember that. I wasn't as into this back then as I am now, but I do remember that. I don't know, it's fuzzy, because every time I find something that says that there's laws that say you can't hold children in federal detention facilities, and I find 20 fucking sources that say that that's bullshit. And for all the people that say that there's no such law, I find fucking all these laws. So I don't really know. It seems a mixed up thing to me. So what it seems to be to me is the problem is Donald Trump. You just don't like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is doing this, and we don't like Donald Trump. Alright? So, I thought to myself, perhaps for today's video, we go back in the Wayback Machine, Sherman, and check out some videos from 2014, 2015, and I think one might even be from 2016, early in the year. Let's see how things were handled in the golden era of immigration, right? So let's go and see what happened back then. The first clip, I'm going to warn you, the first clip is to lighten the mood. The first clip is thrown in just for giggles.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Jesse Waters in for Bill O'Reilly.
Oh my God. When was this? 2015? He looks so young.
And in the Factor follow-up segment tonight, the crisis at the southern border. According to the Washington Post, the Obama administration is preparing to deport the families who've illegally surged across the border since last year.
That sounds familiar.
Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it?
We have to make a whole new set of standards. And when people come in, they have to come in.
So you're going to split up families?
Chuck,
You're going to deport children?
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out?
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
We will work with them. They have to go.
They have to go. We want to keep the families together, but they have to go. Huh.
So, Ruben, I mean, they're going in with armed teams. They're raiding these homes. They're ripping families away and sending them home. Sounds a lot like the same plan Trump had, isn't it? What's Obama doing?
Yeah, man. What in the fuck is Obama doing?
So it's not really the same Trump plan at all, Jesse. It's business as usual for the Obama administration. They've deported 400,000 people a year for 7 years, almost 3 million people at this point. And I think what the difference with Trump is Trump has actually talked about building a wall with a door in it so people can come back.
Building a wall with a door in it. Huh.
When Obama sends people, it's one way. They don't come back. He doesn't want them to come back.
Obama's wall has no door. Because he doesn't want them back. Huh.
So I think that Donald Trump fundamentally is against illegal immigration, but supports the idea of letting some of these people come back legally the right way. That's not what Obama's proposing.
So I just wanted to throw that in for the giggles. Because I thought it was kind of funny. You know. Made me laugh. Let's get fucking serious, right? Like, fuck around with this horse or shit. Let's get serious.
Last time we spoke, you said that you weren't king, you were president. There were only certain things you could do unilaterally. As time goes on, 1,000 deportations on average a day. People are wondering, and our Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds, that's the question everybody asks. Won't you at least consider unilaterally freezing deportations for the parents of deferred action kids?
Yeah, man. Can't you just let the parents stay with the kids? What the fuck?
Here's the problem that I have, Jose, and I've said this consistently. My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
What? Fuck? What? What?
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
Now, wait a minute. Are you saying that you Obama, your job as the president? No other president has this job. You? Or is this like the president's job is... Say that again?
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
So wait a minute. Your job isn't to make the law. The president doesn't make the laws. He enforces them. What? Are you fucking sure saying that he doesn't make that? Run that by me one more time.
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
Wait, you were fucking shitting me. Your job is not to make the laws. What?
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
Huh. It's weird how that happens.
Congress has said, here's the law when it comes to those who are undocumented, and they allocate a whole bunch of money for enforcement. Wait a fucking minute. Congress makes the laws? Congress has said, here's the law when it comes to those who are undocumented, and they allocate a whole bunch of money for enforcement.
Holy shit. Obama is blowing my fucking mind right now.
And what I have been able to do is to make a legal argument that I think is absolutely right, which is that given the resources we have, we can't do everything that Congress has asked us to do. What we can do is then carve out the DREAM Act.
Yeah, carve out that horseshit thing that he enacted that has a 2-year fucking lifespan and it's just there so that every president can just kick the fucking can down the road. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great. Let's do more Band-Aid legislation. Fantastic.
Folks saying young people who have basically grown up here are Americans that we should welcome. We're not going to have them operate under a cloud, under a shadow.
And honestly, I'm fine with that. Dude, seriously. I said this before when I talked about fucking DACA shit. Let them stay. Awesome. They've been here. They're citizens. Let them fucking stay. I don't give a shit. But that's not the law. It needs to be made the law. So why can't Congress make that the law and figure it the fuck out? Why does it have to be Obama? Trump to wave the fucking shit magic wand of the president making laws that don't last forever? Why are we bitching about Trump doing this shit instead of saying, God damn it, Congress, why don't you fucking figure out some goddamn laws?
My job in the executive branch is supposed to be to carry out the laws that are passed.
Thank you, Mr. Former President.
But if we start broadening that, then essentially I would be ignoring the law.
And that would be a bad thing, right? Huh.
In a way that I think would be very difficult to defend legally. So that's not an option.
So it's not an option for the president to ignore the law. Fair enough.
And I do get a little worried that advocates of immigration reform start losing heart and immediately thinking, well, somehow there's an out here. If Congress doesn't act, we'll just have the president sign something and that'll take care of it and we won't have to worry about it.
And that's a bullshit thing, right?
What I've said is that there's a path to get this done, and that's through Congress.
Through Congress? Huh.
And right now, everybody should be focused on making sure that that bill that's already passed out of the Senate hits the floor of the House of Representatives. It's not as if the votes are not there. Right. The votes are there. The only thing that's preventing it is
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Yeah, I get it.
The President of the United States did an interview with George Stephanopoulos of ABC News. He's been criticized by some Republicans saying the reason more than 50,000 young kids have come to the border and tried to get into the United States illegally, sent by their parents from Guatemala and Honduras. Some Republicans have suggested there's an open border policy or the president hasn't been tough enough. Listen to these tough words here.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of that fucking tough talk.
Our message absolutely is don't send your children unaccompanied on trains or through a bunch of smugglers. We don't even know how many of these kids don't make it and may have been waylaid into sex trafficking or killed because they fell off a train. We have no way of tracking that.
Interesting points, former Mr. President.
So that is our direct message to the families in Central America. Do not send your children to the borders. If they do make it, they'll get sent back. More importantly, they may not make it.
Huh. So, back then, I guess we cared about children being brought illegally across the border, and that being a bad fucking thing. Huh. It's amazing how it's such a good fucking thing nowadays. I don't get it. But I know what you're saying. Andy, none of this is the fucking issue. The issue is, how are families being treated when they're detained and awaiting hearing? Well, it took a fuck ton of digging, believe it or not, but I found this wonderful clip from 2015.
Illegal immigration in the U.S. is often talked about in the abstract. It's about policy, borders, and laws.
Policy, borders, and laws. You know? It's how immigration is usually discussed. Yeah. Because that's what affects it the most.
But what is it like for the roughly 30,000 immigrants who are held in detention centers around the country on any given day? Not good.
Remember, this was from 2015, and they're talking about statistics from 2014. I have left the link in the description.
Little to no legal representation, lack of medical services, sexual abuse, malnutrition, and solitary confinement. Those are just some of the issues plaguing these usually privately run detention facilities.
Huh. Interesting. Sounds like Obama was running Auschwitz. Right? Isn't that the comparison we make? He's Hitler. Because look, there was malnutrition and sexual abuse in Auschwitz. So clearly, Obama's Hitler, right? That's how that works?
The most vulnerable of the detained are women and children.
Aw, shit.
In 2014, 60,000 families, mostly from Central America, crossed the U.S.-Mexico border in search of safety and better lives. So what happens to families who are detained by Border Patrol?
They're left together, right?
They're sent to family detention centers, where immigrant women and children are held for months at a time.
But they're held together, right? Because that's important.
They're never charged with a crime, nor granted any legal rights, and they face bonds as high as $15,000.
Sounds like some shitty fucking laws. And that's what I've been saying. At least that's what I've been trying to say. This whole goddamn time that we've been discussing the whole fucking issue. Our immigration system is for shit. The way you can tell it's for shit is because nobody follows it. So, fuck it. It's for shit. It needs to go. And the people who make the laws, not the president, need to be the ones to figure out what the fuck the laws are. How do we handle these things? But they don't want to do that. Because anything they come up with isn't going to be good one way or another. Because one side wants to go, borders, what the fuck are those? And they'll take nothing less. And the other side goes, we want to follow the laws, but our laws fucking suck. So, both sides are for shit. So we need to figure out a better system. It needs to happen. I've been bitching about this since I started covering the fucking DACA shit. The system's for shit. We need to figure out a new, better system and put that in place. And afterwards, we need to follow those laws. Because what in the fuck is the point of having them if we don't? But yeah, I don't think it was cool. I'm not happy that they're taking children away. I'm glad that that's not happening anymore. But whether it's a fucking law or not to separate families at the fucking border, the whole thing is for shit. It needs to be figured the fuck out. It needs to be redone. But we can't just say, well, Donald Trump needs to do it. Because it isn't a fucking job. You get it? This whole fucking thing is because you're a goddamn psychopath about fucking Donald Trump. You don't like him. You think he's the devil. So no matter what, he's the devil. But you know what? Obama's a fucking devil too. Because the same shit was going on back then. And where the fuck were you? Huh?